and with this pre-show. Here we go, guys. Have a fun show. We are now live. We are also muted. And here we go with the intro video. And it started. So you guys can hear it off of my computer, but you're not going to be able to see it on the screen. Okay. It's the moment of silence. Hey everybody, this is David Wolf with Our Paramotor Nation. Welcome to tonight's pre-show. Hope you're having a fun time chatting with other paramotor enthusiasts watching with you right now. Hey, I just want to take a quick second and just thank everybody who supports the show, whether you're a sponsor, whether you're a Patreon, whether you're doing a super chat during the show. And some people have asked me how to become a Patreon and how to do super chat, so I wanted to just talk about that very briefly. All you need to do is click on the little button down here at the bottom right of the screen. You can go ahead and pick out any dollar amount you want to donate to the show and leave a comment as well. I'll read it on the show for you. If you'd like to become a Patreon, you can go onto the website, ourparamotornation.com, and there's information to fill out there. All right, we're just going to start the show here in a few moments. I talked about the sponsors. Let's hear about them right now.
Welcome to Our Paramotor Nation. Tonight's show is sponsored by PPG Lights. Make one heck of an impression with countless patterns and colors on your paramotor. Lone Star Paramotor has become one of the most sought-out paramotor schools, offering foot launching and strike training classes and much more. Aviator Paramotor is a cornerstone for paramotor training while offering its students some of the top paramotor equipment. Fly PPG Discovered Power Paragliding has helped people from around the world get into our great sport. Charlie Soap, an all-natural laundry detergent and household cleaner, are like no other. Fly My PPG, offering a full-service paramotor training experience with 3 on-site instructors and limited class sizes. One-Up Adventures and ParamotorProps.com, sharing their passion for flight on adventures around the world. Skylab Paramotor SID, teaching paramotor pilots of all skill levels collapse recovery and advanced maneuvers. JK Custom Cars is a father and daughter-run small business, taking your vision and immortalizing it forever. Paraswag USA, your complete power paragliding gear source. iFly Indiana provides USPPA certified power paragliding training on your equipment or on theirs for prices as low as $2,500. Wicked Wings logo can help you have a one-of-a-kind glider with one or multiple colors. Visit the Our Paramotor Nation website. Check out the upcoming shows, the past shows, and all of its sponsors. And now, let's get started with this episode of Our Paramotor Nation.
What's the Darkhorse 450? It's a challenge. It's a 450-mile flight across Tennessee in an aircraft that you wear like a backpack. We start in the hills of West Tennessee and finish up in the mountains in the east. We're running from October 4th to the 7th, hopping from one airport to the next, 30 miles at a time. It's a pack of guys pushing the edge of their comfort zone and abilities. Bigger flights have been done by many, but not by us. It's a mix of planning and the unexpected. We fly at 25 miles an hour, so a good tailwind can double our range, or a stiff headwind and we don't make our next planned landing zone. Problems are a given. They won't stop us. More important than what it is why we're doing it. A lot of us have lost brothers and sisters in war, and it hurts. You don't forget the pain, and you don't really want to. It's worse when you lose them after they make it home. And I get it. You get back and you think, that sucked, but now it's over and I can move on with life. Only it doesn't really work that way. Every quiet moment gets filled by the pictures in your head, and the right sound or smell will put you right back into the place you came from. Not long after I got home, I was grilling hamburgers on an evening at home. One of the burgers dropped in the charcoal, like they always do. When the spell hit me, I had to leave. I couldn't finish cooking, and I didn't eat that night. A few weeks ago, my brother talked to me about standing at the abyss, as he called it. Thinking about how much easier it would be to take one more step and just check out. And I know exactly what that feels like. He decided there was more he could offer the world, and the world's a better place because he's still in it. The Darkhorse Lodge is being brought into existence by Gretchen and Kurt Catherwood. Their son, Alec Catherwood, was an infantry marine. He was killed in Afghanistan October 14, 2010. Afterwards, they spent time with Alex's Marine brothers. Saw a desperate need for these guys to have a place to get together and talk to people who understood their own language.
the current situation is a dire one. My countrymen, are men and women, are taking their own lives. Far more than died in combat. And for us, it's unacceptable. I'm Kirk Catherwood.
My name is Gretchen Catherwood. I am the Gold Star mother of Lance Corporal Alec E. Catherwood. I am dedicating the rest of my life to raising money and running Darkhorse Lodge. This is for combat veterans of every branch of service, from every war and conflict, men, women of every age, who will be able to come together and share experiences. Just a safe place for them to communicate with others, and give them a place to go fishing on Kentucky Lake and enjoy activities in the West Tennessee area. This is our progress. This is what we are so excited about. In the mornings after breakfast, our guests will come to our what we call our fishing store and grab their bait and tackle and gear that they will use throughout the day out on the lake. In this room here, this is our dining room. This is the main deal. This is where we will have breakfast and dinner. Around the cabin outside, we will have a deck that runs the length of the building here and the width of the building here, overlooking the beautiful woods and the guest cabins that are right in front of this building. We really, really, really are super excited to begin this journey. I see veterans sitting on the deck, laughing, enjoying each other's company. I see caregivers that will have a place in the staff cabins. We will be building bridges going across the streams. We will be putting in trails that will go back to the beautiful woods, and we're just getting started.
Welcome everybody to our Paramotor Nation. My name is David Wolf. If I haven't met you, I'm so glad you joined us on this very special episode. Man, 103 episodes, and this is probably one of the most special ones I think we've ever done. I'm so glad that you're here. You're going to meet some incredibly special people in just a moment, and as hard as I try to prepare for this show, as much thought and work I've put into the show, I know that I just can't connect because I wasn't a vet and I didn't serve, but there's a humongous special place in my heart for all those that did, and that's why I asked the help of a very good friend of mine who is also a vet, and that's Anthony Vella. He's going to be joining us here in a second to help ask the right questions and connect with our guests as well. In addition to Anthony, we also had Todd Scandrett's Resurgence PPG. As many of you know who are involved with paramotoring, that Resurgence PPG gets adaptive veterans the training that they need and does everything we can to get those guys up in the air and get them flying paramotors. And it's the philanthropy that this show has chosen from the very start to support all along the way. And normally on a show, any given Sunday, we do a 50% of the proceeds from the Super Chat. And the Super Chat, as you saw, Chris Fenimore, thank you, who's down at Aviator right now, getting his paramotor training. Chris Fenimore has already made a $10 donation, so thank you, Chris, for that donation. So instead of the 50% going to Resurgence PPG, 100% of the proceeds will be going to the Darkhorse Lodge. And you just got a little taste from that intro video of what the Darkhorse Lodge is. You're going to be hearing from Gretchen as well as Kurt Dugger, who started off that video in just a second. And how did this all get put together? I got to thank Craig Taylor, who is working very hard and trying to stay awake for the show right now. Craig, with Wicked Wings Logos, is one of our sponsors of the show. And Craig reached out to me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, I heard of this guy. And I said, this guy doesn't exist. You don't know this guy on Facebook. And apparently some guy flew across the state of Tennessee trying to help raise funds for the Darkhorse Lodge, and threw an email out there, and by golly, he answered the email, and that's why he's on the show tonight. So we're going to be doing all these donations going to the Darkhorse Lodge. Now, I do want to go back and talk about Resurgence because there's a huge event that's coming up in 2.5 weeks, and that is the Bad Apples Fly-In. Now, at the Bad Apples Fly-In, 100%, and this is I think it starts the Thursday after Mother's Day, 100% of the proceeds of the Bad Apples Fly-In will be going and turning around and going right back to Resurgence PPG, which is absolutely wonderful. Love those Bad Apples. And at the Bad Apples Fly-In, Adam Giles just came in with a $10 donation. Thank you, Adam, for that. Appreciate it, buddy. So at the Bad Apples Fly-In, there's also going to be a silent auction to raise money for Resurgence PPG. And Craig Taylor, who I just mentioned, one of the very earliest shows, won these gloves here. And these are the actual gloves worn by the late, incredible, world record Lori Kadakis. We miss you, Lori. But these are the gloves he wore when he did his 1,132.7 kilometer flight. So this beautiful shadow box I was able to put together with the magazine that Craig also supplied. And this will be donated to the Bad Apples Fly-In for Resurgence PPG. You can bid on it there. But someone actually did put on Facebook, asked if this was available to be bid on if you're not there. And the answer is yes. Tim is working on, Tim Gaskins, who is in the chat right now, and if you have a question for him, he can answer it. He's going to be working on getting all the prizes and hopefully being able to list them. So if you're not able to make it to Bad Apples and you want to participate in the silent auction for one of the prizes, you can. So for right now, you can go ahead and send me a Facebook private message or send an email to davidwolf51 if you do want to make a silent auction for that prize right there for Lori's gloves in the shadow box, and just put on your contact information and how much your maximum bid would be. All right, cool. I want to one more thing before I bring in our first guest. I want to show you one other thing here as well. And that is going to be, yes, here it is right here. This is the Darkhorse Lodge website. If you give me just a second to find it here. There we go. This is the Darkhorse website. So you can see on here a lot of the information. You can just go to darkhorselodge.org and all their information. So a lot of people are watching this show after the show is already aired. And so please make sure if you want to donate, you can go ahead and click on the donation button right there in the middle of the yellow line. And now, all these donations for tonight's show, like I said, is going to be going to the Darkhorse Lodge, but we're going to do something actually a little special too. They have what's called a brick program, and you can see it right here on the screen. So at the base of the flagpoles that are going to be located in front of the Darkhorse Lodge, there's going to be all these bricks. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the money that we get tonight, so hopefully everybody will be a part of that, even if you can only do $5 in the Super Chat. Fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to have a brick, and it's going to say thank you to the vets and to Darkhorse Lodge from our Paramotor Nation. So if you ever have a chance to get out to Tennessee to the Darkhorse Lodge, you'll be able to go ahead and find that brick and be able to say, I was a part of that. Johnny Ripa is here with me today. Hey, Johnny, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. Excited for the show tonight. Yeah.
John, you had something amazing happen to you today. What do you want? I don't want you to go too much detail because that could be a whole nother show in itself. What did you do today?
So real quick, after 4 years, I finally got to fly through Patrick Air Force Base, airspace. I called the tower before they closed. They closed on Saturday and Sunday at 5 p.m. and they gave me permission. I got a weather briefing, and yeah. For the first time in 4 years, I've been trying to fly there, and it was absolutely beautiful.
That's awesome, buddy.
Video to follow.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. I want to thank Linda Anderson. She made a $20 donation in the Super Chat, as well as Derek Locklear. He also did a $20 donation in the Super Chat. So thank you guys for that. Keep them coming. I want to really, really raise a lot of money for the Darkhorse Lodge today. I am also joined today by the one, the only, Anthony Vella. What's up, Migo?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on this very special show today.
I'm so glad you're here. Anthony, tell us a little bit about your background, your military background, and
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, right on. I was in the Army. I joined the Army back in 2009, left out of California, my hometown, went to Fort Leonard, Missouri for basic training, and then found myself on a plane to Afghanistan in 2011, to the eastern province of Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. And I served as a combat medic in the Army.
All right. Anthony, as always, for every vet out there, thank you all for your service to our country. We so appreciate it. Daniel Rausch says, $20 super chat. He says, our vets need more people and places like this. Veteran suicide is a horrible issue that needs to be talked about more. Daniel, I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much for that super chat donation, buddy. I appreciate it. I hope you like the bell. I don't know if the bell's annoying. I'll stop with the bell, but I like it. So there
I like
you go.
the bell.
You like the bell. All right, good. I want to introduce to everybody Kurt Dugger and Gretchen Catherwood are here. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi guys, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to have you guys finally on the show. I've been waiting for the show. All right, let's get into it, shall we? So, Gretchen, let's start with you. And I guess, yeah, I started to talk about how I got, Craig Taylor told me to reach out. So I originally started with Kurt, and Kurt led me into getting in touch with you. Let's talk about, at the top of the show, we saw that this show is in memory for your son, Alec. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
My gosh, and I think maybe it's part of that too. My mother, as I explained to you on the phone, my mother lost a child, my sister, when I was 9 and she was 16. So I'll never know the pain, and I'll never understand the pain, but I can surely sympathize for it. I know I've seen it firsthand what it's like for someone to go with it. So my prayers are out to you and your family forever for that. And thank you for your sacrifice. Your husband is also Army, and you have a son-in-law, I believe, is a Marine, correct? Is that correct, Catherine?
Yes, former son-in-law is a Marine.
Okay, yep. I'm sorry. All right, so go ahead and tell us how this whole Dark Lodge thing came about. And I also wanted you to explain, how did you come up with the name Darkhorse Lodge?
Well, the reason it came to be is because Alec was killed. He was with the 3-5 Darkhorse unit, which is a Marine Corps unit out of Camp Pendleton, California. And they were deployed to Helmand Province, Afghanistan in 2010, 2011. Alec was a machine gunner, a saw gunner, and he was 19 years old when he was killed on October 14th in 2010. Altogether, the 3-5 Darkhorse unit lost 25 Marines. So when they came back, when the unit came back and they had the remembrance ceremony on the helicopter pad out at Camp Pendleton, I saw a whole lot of pain and a whole lot of eyes, and it got me thinking there has to be something that we can do for the men and women who came home. And so we came back to Tennessee, and well, actually at that time we were living in Illinois, but we moved down to Tennessee shortly thereafter, and I stayed up for a whole lot of nights thinking about what I saw in the eyes of those men when I was in California, and just kind of came with the idea of doing some sort of a retreat. And so it evolved from the beginning of what I came up with to what it is now. It evolved several times, but I just thought there has to be something that we can do to help the ones who came home in memory of the ones who didn't. And Darkhorse Lodge was born, and my husband came on board with me after a little bit of hesitancy because he didn't think we could do it. Now he knows we can. But yeah, he jumped on board, and here we are. So we have 25 bedrooms. Each one of those bedrooms is named for one of the 25 men who were killed from Alec's unit. And the buildings are all up, and we're starting work on the decks and some more outdoor stuff very, very shortly. But we're getting there. Progress is so much farther than it was in the video that you showed. It's funny listening to that video because I remember there were no buildings at the time, just foundations. So it's kind of fun to look at it now.
Right, and I want to go back here for a second to the website so people can see a little bit of the progress that's being made. So the pictures I'm showing right now are basically the foundation being poured, the bricks going up. Here's some walls going up. It's quite a bit further along now as pictures I've seen, and you'll see here some beautiful retaining walls are going in. Here's some more walls. Some roofs are being applied as I'm scrolling through this. And this is all on the website, so you can see this isn't just something that's, it's an idea. There's the 5 different bunkhouses that are on there. As I continue to scroll down, you can see now it looks like the walls on the exterior are done. Windows and doors are going in. The walls are going up on the inside. There's ceiling fans. So this thing, I mean, it's looking like it's getting pretty close to being done and completed here, which is great. But I know there's quite a bit of work still left to do. How much do you think is left to do at this point?
Well, we were actually hoping to be open this summer, but obviously COVID kind of put the kibosh on everything. Yeah. So we were set back about a year, just the same as the rest of the world was. So it looks like we're hoping next summer. We do have the buildings done on the outsides, and the inside we're getting finished. We have the cabinet guy coming this week to meet with us. We have the deck's going to be started in about a week. They're going to start on those, and then we'll start working on the kitchen. You know, the equipment and everything for the kitchen and the furniture and all that kind of stuff. And the trim. Once we do the trim and the plumbing fixtures inside, the inside of the buildings will pretty much be done. So it's been a long road, but we still have quite a journey ahead of us.
That's awesome. Well, I think there's some people that want to help you with that journey too, such as Ken Stamey. Ken Stamey donated $20 in the super chat. He says, "Hello everyone, thanks to our vets." Mike P, thank you for the donation. He says $20, and this is for our great warriors. So thank you, Mike, for that. Hold on one second. There's a cat about to walk in front of my camera. So thank you, Mike, for that donation as well. I think there was a couple others that also came in. Let me see if I can find them here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any. But yes, Chris Fenimore, who made a donation earlier, he says, "For my son who is active Air Force overseas, who cannot be PPG training with this week with me." Oh man, hopefully we'll get him an opportunity to train when he gets back. And thank you for your service, his service. Paramotor NC, much respect to our brave men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces. Thank you, Darkhorse Lodge and OPN. You have my support, Ben. Love you, Ben, man. Thank you so much, buddy. Ben is a very, very generous, very kind person. He actually sent me this phone stand that I'm using right now as I'm doing my show. Angela Preslick just came in as well with a $10 donation for the women and men who keep us safe. Thank you, Angela, for that $10 donation. And then right behind Angela was Brian Simmons. Thank you for the Darkhorse Lodge. My son-in-law is a wounded vet and served in Helmand Province also. There we go. So thank you, Brian, for that donation. That's awesome. Oh, too many bells. All right, let's get over here for a second and say hi to Kurt Dugger. Kurt, thank you, sir, for your service. Kurt, tell us a little bit about your military background, please.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having us here. My background, I joined the Marine Corps in 2000 and went into the infantry. I was there for the invasion of Iraq in 2003, and then left the infantry, went to the rifle range for a few years, and then went back to my old job and went to Afghanistan in 2007, 2008, and spent my time there mostly around eastern Afghanistan, probably not too far from where Mr. Bell was working. And then I got out and came home.
I appreciate it. And then when and how did you get turned on to paramotors?
Man, I don't know how I started. I have a cousin in Chattanooga who had talked to me about it for a while, and I thought, yeah, that looks stupid. And then I think I dug up a YouTube video of Aviator training some guys, and I said, yep, so I might die on a paramotor, but I'm not going to die wanting one, so we're going to have to do that.
All right. Now, there is a question I need to ask you, because this question comes up each episode, it seems like. Who, of all the YouTube paramotor pilots out there, who is your favorite YouTube paramotor pilot?
Oh, man. That's serious. That's a loaded question.
Anthony Vella.
I'm going to have to say... Oh, the name I want to say I can't say. No. Okay. Yeah. I'll say Mr. Bell is probably the second best paramotor pilot ever, maybe. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. After me,
probably
number 2. I'll give him that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I understand the Army's kind of sensitive. They have their feelings. I don't want to do this in front of everybody.
That's great. That's great. So, Kurt, how did you find out about Darkhorse Lodge?
Well, my wife ran like a little small town magazine for a while, and she somehow or another heard of what Gretchen and Kirk were doing and reached out to them for a story. And I guess our relationship just kind of grew from there. Yeah. That was about it.
Wow.
And then, of course, when I got into paramotor, I decided I really quickly, I figured out I love doing long cross-country flights, and I really want to do something for a lodge. And I thought, what would be better to get eyes on the lodge than taking a ridiculous flying machine across the state?
It's great.
That's how that came.
It's a great idea. So, yeah, I want to say thank you very quickly. We just had another donation. Mike Thompson, thank you so much, Mike, for a $25 donation there. That's so appreciative. You guys are doing awesome. So far, we're about $225 on the donations. And again, Google takes a little bit, but everything else tonight is going right back to Darkhorse Lodge, and that's why we're doing this episode for them. So I want to ask you a question, and I want to ask this both. We're going to ask you first, Kurt, and then Anthony. Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask something else of John. I wanted to go back to John for just a second. John, you did not serve in the military, but you have a special way that you've always been supporting. How is that? John, you're on mute.
Now I'm off. I've been flying a POW flag, an American flag, on my motorcycle since '93, and I was in a motorcycle club for 17 years, and we had a lot of vets in my club, and I've always supported our vets. So, yeah.
Very wonderful. Awesome. All right. So the question for you, Kurt, and for you, Anthony, obviously having PTSD, as many of our vets do, and we'll, never understand how challenging that can be. What does it mean what therapy is it for you to go fly? Kurt, how about you first?
Oh, that's I'll say I really can't say enough about that. I'll say out of everything that I found, flying is the best therapy I've ever found. Being up there, and of course, when you're in the air, there's only one thing your mind can be focused on. You got to be 100% there and present in the moment it's flying. So all that other stuff is just completely blocked out, and then it's almost like standing in the air and meditating for 2 hours. And then when you get back down, you've had that great reset, and the whole world just is a lot easier to deal with.
Awesome. How about you, Anthony?
No, I think you said it perfectly. Flying paramotors is like once I got home and I got out of the Army, the paramotor for me was like this lifelong distraction, I suppose. It's kind of like a medicate. Sometimes the military prescribes medications that are really strong and have negative repercussions or side effects that can impact soldiers for different reasons. So Darkhorse, first and foremost, is like paramotoring in the sense that it offers something that no drug can offer a soldier. And so I think in that sense, it's something that's super, super powerful. And it certainly has like improved the quality of my life. I mean, I thought for sure, like I couldn't ever find happiness in my life ever again. And now, my life today, the way it is, I wouldn't change a damn thing. I just think it's been fantastic. I mean, I'm so happy where I'm at right now.
It's awesome, buddy. And we love you. Not everybody can fly a paramotor. And for those that are willing to try, they can get it on a list and hopefully be selected for Resurgence PPG. And that's why we support Resurgence PPG, because we want to give as many people the same opportunity as Anthony and Kurt both have to get that freedom, that release. And for those that can't, we support Darkhorse Lodge. So there's that too. We had a couple more donations come in, and I don't want to miss anybody, so let me go back for just a second. I believe the next one came right here. And by the way, DP, I apologize for the bell and waking all your roosters up, but we're going to wake them up. So here's what we have. We have a bunch of donations. I see two more big ones.
Tim Gaskins.
Okay, all right. You're taking my thunder. That's not your... I'm not... All right. John Allen Martin. John Allen Martin comes in with a $25 donation, says, thank you to those involved with the project and hopefully to help supply therapeutic crayons for the Marines involved. That's awesome. Thank you, John, for that. Our buddy out in California, Anthony Paragringo, with a $25 donation, says, I am free. Thank you. Yes, that's so true, man. We are free because of them. Robert McTiernan, United States Marine Corps combat vet in memory of, and I'm please if I apologize for saying this wrong, my Shadow Corporal, Benicki. CPL Corporal, is that correct? Anthony? Yes? Yes. Okay,
yes, that's correct.
Benicki. Thank you so much, Robert. Appreciate that $20 donation. And
I got the next one, Robert.
I'm David. Robert's on Thursday
sorry.
nights.
Dave.
Oh, my gosh. Go ahead,
And
John.
then for Tim Gaskins, for all my veteran brothers and sisters, especially my Marine brothers and sisters, Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, a $100 donation from Tim Gaskins. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, buddy. Tim Gaskins, there's a little bell for actually for Tim. For Tim, I'm going to give him an old baby right there, right behind Tim. John Wayne for $50. John Wayne, $50. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Oh my gosh, we got more. You guys better sit tight for a second. I'm going to keep going here. Mark H, $25. You ready for this, Gretchen? For the 25. For the 25, he says.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
25 for the 25.
There you go. Appreciate it. Mark Rogers is $5. I am not a vet, but I understand PTSD intimately. Paragliding has been a great release for me. Thank you, Mark Rogers, for that $5 donation, buddy. We appreciate that. Who else? I think I saw one more. Mr. Shandor. My buddy Shandor comes in for not $5, $50. Oh, yeah, baby. Thank you, Shandor, for that $50 donation. Oh, my gosh, that's wonderful. So far, if my computer doesn't go out, $524 in donations tonight. I'm so very excited. And again, if you're watching the show and it's not live, you're watching this, you can go onto the Darkhorse Lodge website and make a donation. And please do. Please do. This is for some very, very special people. I'm going to go back to you for a second, Kurt, and let's talk about this Darkhorse 450. This is what you've done going across the state of Tennessee. How many years have you done it? How many years have you done it successfully? And tell us about the upcoming one as well.
Oh man, been 2 attempts so far. The first one I made it to Scott County, which is in the mountains of East Tennessee, and then the weather shut us down there. The last attempt, we got killed on the second day. I sheared my crankshaft off at about 1,500 feet, and then my ground support had to come fish me out of a field. So that's what it's been so far. The next attempt, we're looking to it's either we're going to split it up into half of it the end of July and half of it the first weekend of August, or we're probably going to do it all in one shot and hopefully end up at the Moonshiners fly-in the first weekend of August.
That's awesome.
That's the goal. And all we do, we start at a local airport in northwest Tennessee, close to where I live. We fly down south of Nashville around Tullahoma to stay out of all that traffic, and then back up to Johnson County Airport in the northeast corner, just hopping from one airport to the next along the way.
All right. So as I told you earlier, I've talked to a couple people in leading up to the show. Harley Milne says he is very interested in coming out there. I'm not. Harley's probably watching this, going, "Wait a minute, David! I didn't say for sure." But I think Harley's. I think Harley's going to try to make the trip out there and do it this year.
The more the merrier. And
I'm hoping he's going to say something in the chat. But Tim Gaskins, who made that nice donation there, he said he would love to try to do it as well, and maybe bring in some of his Bad Apples brothers and sisters with him as well. And what about you, Mr. John Ripa? What are you thinking, buddy?
We're looking for bikers too, if you know any.
I'm thinking
anybody wants to come in for ground support.
I'm thinking I may join these guys and fly out to the end with these guys. Yeah, it's awesome. My wheels are spinning. Let's just say that.
What?
Great.
How should people find out more about this, Kurt?
Right now, get in contact with the Darkhorse Lodge at their webpage or Facebook page. Or I have no problem giving out my email address here.
Go for it.
Kurt.Dugger. Yeah, Kurt.Dugger at protonmail.com. Send me an email if you want to be involved in it. If there's no registration fee, there's no trophies, there's nothing like that. If you want to come out and fly with us for all of it or just one piece of it, or ride with us for all of it or just one piece of it, we'd love to have you.
That's awesome. I want to turn the show a little bit here too, and let's talk about the tough parts to talk about. Okay, being that, and I know I've had conversations with Anthony in private, and I know Anthony's. It's difficult for Anthony to talk about the things that a vet has gone through, and like I said, and I tell people this all the time. I support the vets because, you know, I can never understand what they went through. You know, I think back to one of my favorite movies back in the 80s, 90s, I think it was A Few Good Men, when Jack Nicholson says, you don't want to know about things I know. You don't want, things at parties that you talk about. I'm screwing up the whole monologue here. But, you know, it's those are the people that protect us. Those people that see the things that we don't want to see. And they bear that. You can't unsee it. You can't forget things like that. And it's where this great appreciation that I have for vets comes in, and why I support Todd and why I'm supporting Gretchen and her husband Kurt. You know, in conversation, you know, with Kurt earlier this week, he said, you know, I'm getting to the point where I can start talking about things now. So, you know, I get all choked up every time, and I did it during the pre-show too. And you know, there was a moment where during the video that I started welling up in the eyes too, and I always do every time I hear Kurt in his video saying that he was cooking hot hamburgers and one dropped between the gridiron and the smell hit his nose and he had to walk away. And those little things like that bring it back. So, Kurt, I'm going to start with you, and you know, just share your thoughts of what vets go through, the things that civilians like myself will never understand. Anthony, if you want to chime in anything as well, I mean, it's completely up to you. Share what you want. I don't want to take anybody to a place that they don't want to go to, and don't put anybody on the spot. If there's something you want to talk about to kind of enlighten us and let all of us know what it's like to be a vet to some point.
Okay.
All right. Is that fair? Anthony, you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead, Kurt. Why don't you start us off, buddy?
All right. Yeah, I think I can try to do that. How to describe what it's like for guys coming back home to start with. The last flight on the Darkhorse 450, right? That flight to me was exactly what it felt like to come home from Iraq and Afghanistan both times. The quick story about the flight, it was the wind was really, really gnarly, like 20 to 30 mile an hour gust. It was a midday flight. We had a weather front coming in, and I was trying to just make one more jump to one more airport to get a little more distance from Jamestown to Scott County. So I took off at like 11:30. Nice, bright, sunshiny day. So thermals were rocking, the winds were gusting, and it took me about an hour to get to Scott County Airport, where it should have normally taken about a half-hour flight. And so I was just getting worked and beat to death for this whole entire flight. By the time I got there, my arms were smoked. You guys have been up on bad days, so you know what that feels like. You just get thrashed.
And if you don't know, you can always watch an Anthony Vella video. He'll show you exactly what
yes,
what
you can.
like
He'll show you all about that. but yeah, I get there, and I'm starting to come down to do my let down to get into the airport and try to set up an approach. And as I start to drop altitude, I start getting smacked by thermals, and I'm getting picked up like 400 feet a minute, 800 feet a minute, just getting jerked straight back up into the sky. No matter what I did, I couldn't get back down. And I did not know how to solve this problem. What made it kind of funny later is at that point, my wife and Gretchen had made it to the airport, and they were watching all this go on, right? Mm-hmm. Gretchen thought it was like the coolest aerobatic show ever while I'm like flipping my wings sideways, trying to spiral down and get under these thermals, trying to get to the ground while I'm just getting beat on. She thought it was awesome. Kate knew, she said, well, when I saw that you were going higher than your wing was, I knew you were in trouble, but I couldn't do anything about it. Yep, that was it. But that was a lot of what coming home was like. Like the people that knew me knew that I was having trouble and did not have any understanding of how to help me. the people that didn't know me just wanted all the cool war stories, right? But what I really needed coming home was the same thing I needed there. I needed a pilot who had flown through that area before and could say, hey, I know you're getting trashed right now. I can't help you, but I can kind of show you where to go to find a cool spot where you can start getting down and you can come in here and you can land safely. That's what I needed coming home. And that's what I needed on that flight. That's what the Darkhorse Lodge has been providing so far.
Yep.
That's the best explanation I've got of what it's like to come home.
Okay. Anthony, I want to ask you this. Being that you have, as far as I can tell, probably the 4th largest paramotor YouTube channel, almost 3rd in the country. I'm sure people are reaching out to you quite a bit. Have you ever had vets reach out to you and just say, hey, man, talk to you about this, talk to you about what paramotoring, have you had any interactions like that?
Yeah, for sure. There's always that sense of camaraderie, I suppose, when individuals can relate with you on that level, especially especially hearing individuals who aren't into paramotoring yet, but may be inclined to get into paramotoring. And I was talking to somebody recently, and I was telling him how I was in RC East Afghanistan. And I was like, "Whoa, what am I doing talking about Afghanistan again?" I mean, it just had been so long. It's like my world is consumed by family and paramotors. But all of a sudden, I was remembering Afghanistan, and talking to those individuals is what I want for sure, because I think. I mean, I just want to bring it right to Darkhorse and organizations like that, or Resurgence PPG. It's like veterans have so much. Maybe not all veterans. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't think that every veteran in the world necessarily has things that they have to cope with, right? Like there is a very large population of soldiers or Marines who have encountered and experienced extrememe challenging things during their deployments. So when there are organizations like this, I do think that there's such a sense of therapeutic. And if I can, I can distinctly tell you why I think something like Darkhorse is really, really important. And that's because every person needs an escape. Like every person needs to be able to get their head out of a certain predicament that is painful, that is dark. I mean, I honestly don't know all the statistics about suicide in spite of being a medic in the Army. I mean, suicides happened. Our unit, my commander killed himself when we got back from Afghanistan. It was extremely challenging. I mean, we lost several dudes in Afghanistan, and I was their medic. And to be a combat medic and for your individuals on your team to die, it's so taxing. It's really painful. And so when there's something to to free up your mind, then it's really powerful, whether it's paramotoring or whether it's Darkhorse. I think for anybody watching who does want to support something like this, it's kind of like, I mean, I guess my personal interpretation of this is that it feels as though there isn't as much of an emphasis on service members going through a really challenging time these days as much as when I had first got home. And I really hope that that's not the case. I really, really, really hope and pray that nobody ever forgets that for individuals, once the war slows down, it stops for those people. It stops for many citizens. For certain individuals who are there, I mean, I would assume it would be something similar for those who served in Vietnam or other places, just as much as it is for those who served in Afghanistan or Iraq, and it's like, holy smokes, it's something that ultimately never goes away.
I want to tell you something, Anthony. By the way, if anybody is watching the show right now live and you have a question for Anthony or Gretchen or Kurt, make sure you ask it in the chat. Start it off with my name so I can spot it and I can ask it for you. But I did happen to spot a comment here, and I think this is very special to share and something I really want you to listen to, Anthony, as I read this. And this is from Ben, Paramotor NC. And he says, I've always appreciated how Anthony has shared small glimpses over the years, just an insight that helps us appreciate his perspective on life and service, what PPG can mean to a veteran. So that's very, very, very nice. And then Anthony, a buddy of yours, Clint Shamalis. I don't know if he's a buddy of yours or not. No, he's a wonderful buddy of yours. He just made a $50 donation in the super chat. Clint, thank you, buddy. Thanks so much for that. We appreciate it. Wow. So I have a question. Gretchen, we're going to get back and talk about the Darkhorse in just a second here. But I do have a question for all three of you. Because Gretchen, even though you didn't serve, heck, you did serve. You served with your husband and you served with your kids. How does this civilian go and approach a vet? I know it's kind of a crazy question, isn't it? But, what's the right thing to say? I don't know. I mean, thank you for your service. In fact, I just think about the other night. I was at a lacrosse game with my wife and my daughter's lacrosse game, and she came off the field, and there was an older gentleman who had a cane, and he had an Air Force hat and an Air Force jacket, and I said, thank you so much for your service. And he's like, it's been 50 years, but thank you. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And my daughter walked by, and she spun around, she turned right back, and thank you for your service. And her friends were looking at her, and they're like, thank you for your service. And is it enough? What else can we do? I mean, with the exception of, obviously supporting organizations, as you said, Resurgence and Darkhorse, what do you say? What do you want to hear? What else can we do?
I don't have a really good answer to that. Okay. Most guys I don't know if Anthony feels the same way, but it's not that I appreciate it when somebody comes up to me and says, thank you for your service, right? That I absolutely appreciate it. That means a whole lot. Mm-hmm. But every time I hear it, and I've noticed with most vets that you hear that, you'll see them kind of drop their eyes for a second because they're always thinking, yeah, I didn't do that much. I know all these guys who put so much more into that than I did. But you don't have to say anything if you don't want to.
I think a lot of the
nobody
younger
did
guys,
it for praise.
I think a lot of the younger guys don't necessarily want to hear thank you for your service as much as the Korean War veterans and the Vietnam veterans seem to appreciate it as much maybe. And as a civilian, for me, excuse me, I don't think we can ever say enough. Honestly, I don't think we can ever do enough. But for me, I just promise to never forget. I never forget Kurt's sacrifice and Anthony's sacrifice and the sacrifice of the family members who served right, like you said, who served right alongside their airman or Marine or soldier or sailor. They served right alongside them. The children served. And for those Gold Star families who will forever have an empty seat at their table, never forgetting is one of the best things you can do to keep those memories alive. And for me, keeping the memory of Alec alive and those other 24 Darkhorse Marines means being here for those they died for and those they died beside. So for me, I honor them by helping the ones that they died for.
Yeah.
And that's one way I can honor them, but I can also honor the veterans who will be guests at Darkhorse Lodge as well, Yeah.
How about you, Anthony? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a common thing. Like when you come home and somebody says, thank you for your service. It used to, I'll be honest, like it used to just, in an inexplicable, inappropriate response, I would say thank you. I mean, I would say thank you, but in my mind, I would think like Kurt said, it's like, why me? Like, why? I mean, why thank me? Like I'm here. But I do think that it's very considerate for sure. When somebody does say thank you, it's meaningful. And I think a little by little, I can understand when somebody says thank you that they mean it, and that's therapeutic in itself, I suppose.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that answer. Gretchen, what's going on over at that Darkhorse Lodge? Because part of the videos, as I edited that video down, you okay, Anthony?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate you sharing all that. I know this is tough. And thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
What else goes on at the Darkhorse Lodge? It's things that I cut out of the video because I wanted to shorten it down so we could start the show. But, you know, people are going to get to go fishing and go hiking. What other wonderful things, therapeutic things that these amazing vets. And one thing I don't think we even mentioned on the show is that it's completely free for vets to come for an entire week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it sure will be. We'll start out with our fishing program, which is, you know, the basis for the whole thing is just to give them a place to go hang out on a boat with other people who've been where they've been, whether it's figuratively or literally. And we know in any subsection of society, nobody else is going to get it except those who went through something similar to what you went through. So that's why we chose combat veterans specifically. It's not that we don't thank service veterans for their service every bit as much, because we truly do, because without them there would be no combat veterans. Mm-hmm. You know, it takes every single one of them to make it happen. But we chose combat veterans specifically because they're in a unique position to know what the other one has gone through. And it doesn't matter the war, it doesn't matter the conflict, it doesn't matter if it's an 85-year-old veteran talking to a 35-year-old veteran. You know, they will be able to relate to each other. It's shared experience. But going to start with the fishing program. Once we've got that up and running and working smoothly, we're going to introduce the Warrior Woodshop, whereby they'll be able to work on projects, woodworking projects, and even if they don't finish them when they're here, the group that comes next can work on those items too, you know, and that will give them a shared project that they worked on. We have a range that's nearby where if somebody really doesn't want to go fishing, we can take them out to the range if they feel like shooting. We won't have a range on site, but there's a range locally. We eventually hope to get into some equine therapy, even if it's not a certified therapeutic program. We at least hope to have a couple of horses just to be able to take care of, you know, to brush them and ride them and hang out with them, because it's pretty much proven that that's a good thing too. And we're really hoping one day.
I would love to be given tandem rides.
Oh yeah.
Bringing other guys into the sport.
Yeah. So we're hoping that Kurt will come maybe once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks. We don't know, but at least give a workshop and
I've still got some
teach some paramotoring.
I've got some work to do to be able to do that.
Wait,
yeah, that's one of my
Gretchen. Gretchen, could this be the birth of the Darkhorse fly-in every year? Or is that what you're saying? We could have a fly-in? Oh,
sure could.
A new fly-in in Tennessee.
Now that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Okay.
Sure could.
Very cool. All right. We're getting close to the end of the hour, and if you're tuning in late, we've been making donations all through the show in our super chat, where 100% of the proceeds are going to be going right to the Darkhorse Lodge this evening, which I'm extremely excited about. I did see something in here too. A couple things. There was a couple comments that I happened to catch. Let's see if I can find them here and pop them up here. One was just a comment from Tim Gaskins. If I can't find it, I'm just going to read the darn thing here. But Tim says that I always thought the people who suffered the most were the dependents and family. They deserve so much. Here's another question here, and I saw this. This comes from Tony Marzano, and it's interesting. Would a vet be offended if he or she is in line, let's say at a store, and you pick up the bill for them? What do you think, guys?
That's a good question.
It's generous. I mean,
I've had that happen before. I wouldn't be offended at all.
Good.
Not, and it's greatly appreciated.
I think we should be doing more of that. Honestly, I personally think we should be doing more of that.
Like that's that's something I would tell people. If you do something like that and maybe don't get the reaction you really expected, just understand that probably has more to do with that person not being able to say what they are thinking.
What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's I know it happened when I came home. Just my mom was a waitress her whole life, and I went in and went back home finally after a really long time, and somebody picked up the bill, and I was like, my mind was blown, but just like, you know, it was already said, I couldn't. I mean, the response is kind of like awkward, but it's so appreciated, and that's what's felt is appreciation. But like, yeah, I mean,
That's fantastic. That's great.
It's just hard to reciprocate that what you're feeling sometimes. Yeah.
I want to. Oh, there's another vet, and I hope he's able to watch this show. And usually, you'll find him on the show. You will also find him on Wednesday nights on the Trike Flyer channel as he hosts the show called After Dark, and that's Dave Ruff. And Dave, also want to, even though you're not with us right now on the show, I want to thank you for your service. There's a nice little comment here from Gyro Jeffro. He says, Anthony Vella, thank you for your service as a PPG pilot. Flying has gave me a lot of meaning to my life. Plus, I know your videos help you and others. Wow, that's nice.
That's super kind. Thank you for saying that.
Awesome.
Anthony, why don't you, if you wouldn't mind, just give a quick plug on the Paramotor podcast. Yeah, tell us what's going on with the Paramotor podcast, if you would.
Hold it together, Dave.
And if you want to talk about paragliding talk, you can do that too. No.
Yeah. Paragliding talk. It's an awesome talk show. Now, Paramotor. What's my podcast?
It's called the Paramotor Podcast.
Oh yeah, the Paramotor Podcast. Yeah, no, it's a cool place and just to jump in and learn if you're getting into the sport. But yeah.
Very good. And Anthony has just recently started the Paramotor Podcast YouTube channel in addition to the Anthony Vella YouTube channel, which has well over 10,000 subscribers on it. I'm catching up to you.
Hey, getting there.
I got a long way to go.
I feel the heat, man.
I'm not making money videos, but man, it might just happen. All right. So as we're about to conclude this show, and at the end of the show, you're going to see a screen that'll come up, and it'll give you the meeting ID, the Zoom meeting ID for the after show, as well as the password. So if you'd like to come on and say anything or have any other questions for our three guests tonight, actually, Anthony's not really a guest. He's a co-guest host of the show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it comes with the title.
I appreciate it.
Comes with the title. You're able to do that too. I do want to say thank you to Will Fly, who says thank you. I guess he's thanking you guys with a $10 super chat donation. Thank you, Will Fly. Really appreciate that, buddy. But I want to turn it back to you, to Gretchen and to Kurt. Last thing before we wrap up? Any last thoughts that you had that we didn't mention about the Darkhorse Lodge or the Darkhorse 450?
No, just again, if anybody's interested, if anybody wants to come out for any part of it, I would love to have them. I would love to see a rolling flying circus going across Tennessee in August.
I will be part of it for sure. I will definitely be along for the ride, watching safely from the ground as he does his acrobatics.
For now.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool thing.
That's awesome. I do have a special note that I just received. Okay.
I just received it as well.
Okay.
Does it have to do with CT?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
So
you want to go ahead?
If that's okay with you.
Actually, I'd like to say it.
All right. Go ahead, Johnny. I'll let you do it.
So we just got a note from Greg Taylor. He just did a $500 donation directly to Darkhorse. He matched the amount that was donated in the chat.
Yeah, he did that right to your website so that Google wouldn't take anything out. So are you okay, Gretchen?
Oh, my goodness. I'm a little stunned. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is the part where I just get choked up and start to cry right now.
Wow.
Greg is something else, I'll tell you that.
He is.
Thank you.
Proud to call him my friend.
Absolutely. And we also did just get a donation as well from Angela Kreslick. She says, for Dave Wolf, for everything you do, much respect. Angela, thank you so much. That's $10, and that's going to go right over to the Darkhorse Lodge as well. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. There you go. Wow. This is, again, everybody, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I pray that one day in your journeys, you'll be able to get over to Tennessee. What is it?
I hope so.
What's the
Springfield.
Springville, Tennessee.
Springville. Yep.
Sorry.
West Tennessee.
So in about a year
That's
or
right.
so, and that you'll be able to go over and find a brick that says Our Paramotor Nation on it, and thank you to everybody, and that you'll be able to maybe take a picture and say, I was a part of that. I was part of this brick. This is part of it. So there you go. All right. Well,
Thank you.
thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Gretchen. As always, John, thank you, sir. Wednesday night, we've got the After Dark show, I believe, on Dave Ruff's YouTube channel. We're going to go into the after show. And as I said, if you'd like to join us, we'd love to say hi. All right? Guys, thanks you so much for being here. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Yes.